from the 13th to the 25th of March, running parallel to the CSW. We know that youth and young women and girls' involvement at the UN is critical. And the CSW NGO Forum is many times a gateway to meaningful involvement and learning about advocacy on the issues that you really care about. This year, the CSW priority themes are young women and youth priorities, which is climate change, the environment, and awareness on disaster risk reduction. And the NGO CSW Forum will offer so many opportunities for you to engage, educate yourself, network, and promote your initiatives and parallel events. The forum will offer over 750 parallel events that you can explore and engage in. It will offer conversation circles, which will include youth facilitators and perspectives on issues such as LGBTQI issues, anti-racism, youth and feminist movement in times of COVID, and other pertinent issues. It will provide a platform for you to enable to engage and network with other young people and advocates. We're projecting a registration of about 40,000 people. So for now, your to-dos are: 1, register for the forum; 2, explore the host of parallel events; and 3, let us know about your events and how we can support you and your initiatives. There will be a Q&A at the end of this meeting. So we'll see you then. Look forward to it. Now over to Pam, my co-chair.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome. I am so very delighted to be here with you today. As Rosa said, this is going to be a huge NGO CSW forum with hundreds of events, many conversation circles. We have a virtual Artisan Fair. We have exhibit halls. But for me, what is most intriguing is you, our youth, and the message that you're going to bring. I am invigorated every time I come to a YLYP event. And today I'm going to sit back and take notes and learn from you as we go forward. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Safira.
Thank you so much, Rosa and Pamela. And really, it's so wonderful to have you both with us. It's a huge job putting together the NGO CSW Forum every year, and particularly this coming year with the number of people that you mentioned, over 40,000 people anticipating joining us online this year. So it's very exciting, and thank you so much for all the work you both are doing. So I'd like to introduce now Huri, who is the chair of NGO CSW, to give us a welcome, and particularly to welcome those, and maybe say a few words, Huri, if you could, for those who are joining for the very first time, the Commission on the Status of Women. So over to you, Huri.
Thank you, Safira. And I want to second everything that our co-chairs, Rosa and Pamela, said. I am just so lucky to be working with this team. I also want to thank the co-chairs, Safira, Saida, and Devin, for going the extra mile. I mean, the amount of events they organized, the details that they're paying attention to make sure that YLYP globally feels included. I just want to thank them all for all the hard work. And I also want to give a shout out, of course, for Devin, who's also our program manager, and our interns, Grace and Karina. They already introduced themselves in the chat. So connect with them, ask some questions. I'm also going to be here the whole 2 hours answering questions. I was just reading at everyone introducing themselves, and I'm always blown away. I mean, I wrote down a couple of names. I want to just welcome Sophia, Lauren, Mata, Maria, Dana, and Jenna, and the organizations and the spaces that you are coming from, the LGBTQI and the global regional areas that you're representing. This is an incredible gift for all of us and you all, right? So I want you to really pay attention to what happens here. If you don't know already, NGO CSW's mandate is really bringing global voices into the UN. And if this event is if it's not an example, I don't know what else is. Your comments, your concerns, and your engagement with us means so much, because that actually gives us the privilege to bring those comments and those ideas into our discussions, either with member states, with other leaders, and to make sure that we're advancing gender equality as a whole, and as for specific for specific needs. For example, this year being climate justice, but that doesn't mean we ignore all the other struggles that we are all facing. I mean, I can speak for hours. You can see how passionate I am about this. I'm just so grateful that there are more people like me and my team who want to engage in these conversations. So please stay connected. Take the messages that you're bringing and you're collecting from us and spread it as well, because we have to make sure that anybody who needs to learn about this, who needs the voice, has access to this. We can't reach everybody, so we expect our members, our constituents, people who are signing up for us, that they will learn something. And if those, let's say you're in a village or you're in a big city in some other part of the world, you bring these messages to them so that we can spread this kind of advocacy. I think I will stop there. I'm here. I will answer any questions you have. And let's make this the best CSW ever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Huri. And so we will have the pleasure of having Huri, Rosa, and Pamela stay with us. They will be available to answer any questions that we all might have towards the end of the program. But really a special thank you to Huri, who's been so supportive of youth and empowering young people to participate in the Commission on the Status of Women and the work of NGOCSW. So it's really wonderful to have you and your support. So I'm going to turn to Saida, who's going to say a little about the purpose of the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals Preparation Series. And then we'll turn to Devon for a quick poll to get a sense of who's on the call today. So over to you, Saida, to just share a couple of words.
Thank you, Safira. And on that note of staying connected, Huri, we'll just give you a little context about the YLYP's series of preparatory events and why we started them. Well, we started them last year, actually, to help prepare young people for the CSW Forum. We were going virtual for the first time, so we were walking into the unknown. So it was a great exercise to bring all our youth members together, to connect all of them and build momentum towards CSW. And it was wonderful. We received great feedback. We hosted a lot of events on different themes, and our youth members really had the opportunity to connect and build relationships prior to CSW. So they went in to the forum with a lot of information, with a lot of relationships already built. And since we received such great feedback on the last series we held, we decided to bring it back. We've already launched the preparatory series. We've hosted a couple of events on youth participation, on climate justice, and we're excited to continue doing more and again, build momentum towards CSW in March, which is almost here. It's crazy that we're in February already. So we are going to be hosting our youth series preparatory events every Wednesday, same time, same space in the lead up to CSW here on Zoom. So please join our mailing list if you haven't already, and we'll continue to keep you posted and updated about new events. And excited to see you all here every Wednesday in the lead up to CSW. And now I think I'll turn it over to Devon, who will walk us through an introductory poll.
Cool. So I'm going to launch the poll in Zoom. You should all see it. Everyone can see it. Cool. So we have 3 polls for you now in the beginning of the session, just to kind of get, excuse me, an idea of what you are kind of planning to do at CSW as of now. If you're just looking to attend events, have it more be an educational experience, just learning about different things. If you're here to advocate, if you're going to be networking, or if you're representing your organization or your work, or if you're hosting an event, a parallel event with us. And then the second poll is, where are you working? So if you're working in a global space, regional, national, local, or other. And then the last poll is how many times you have attended CSW. So if this is your first time, welcome. If you've attended 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 times, more than 5 times. Yeah, so just keep plugging away at that. We have a couple more responses coming in. All right, things are slowing down. So we'll end that, and I'm going to share the results. Everyone can see the results? Cool, okay. So looks like a pretty even amount of people are going to be attending events, advocating for specific issues, networking, and participating in an educational experience. And a smaller amount will be representing their work at the global level and hosting an event. In terms of where we're all working, most people are working in global processes, 21% regional, 44% national, 35% local, and 14% other spaces. And then most of y'all, this is the first time here attending CSW, so that's super exciting. And we hope that this training will be very useful for you as someone who has not experienced CSW before. And then we have some people who have attended 2 or 3 times, a much smaller percentage 4 or 5 times, and some people who have attended more than 5 times. Cool, thank you everyone for answering those, and I'll turn it over to our next speaker who will be going over today's training. I believe that's Jillian. Cool.
Thank you, Devin. Yes, absolutely. Thank you and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Let me quickly share what's in store for our time together today. We'll start this informational sharing session with Safira, who will walk you through an overview of the Commission. What is the Commission? What is the Beijing Platform for Action? Since most of us here seem to be new or will be attending for the first time, this is a great place to start paying attention. We will be privileged to have with us today Rita Muyambo from UN Women, who will also share their youth-focused plans, after which we'll flip the side of the same coin. I'll be back to talk about our NGO CSW plans and what is organized to help you advocate, learn, and connect. In order to help you advocate and connect, we have a virtual platform for your use. Devin will share a short demonstration on navigating this platform, followed by Pam, who will share advice and tips on how to advocate in this hybrid digital in-person kind of sphere we have going on. But we're not done yet. In addition to all of this, Saida alluded to the specific series for youth leaders and young professionals. We'll share details of events, timelines, and most importantly, we will have a question and answer session to help clarify any doubts that you have. And with that, I will hand over to Safira to start us off.
Thank you so much, Jillian. And I should give a shout out to Jillian, who's part of the Global Forum Planning Committee and has been very diligently working on creating orientation and advocacy training spaces for not only the youth and this training today, but also for the Commission itself. So the first day of the Commission, we will also have orientation and advocacy training. And so Jillian has been such a key part of that. So I am going to actually invite Rita to start us off. So Rita from UN Women to give us an overview about what UN Women is planning. And I know she's very short on time. So we're going to give Rita an opportunity to share, and then I will come in and share a little bit more about the Commission on the Status of Women itself. So over to you, Rita. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you so much, Safira. It's always good to connect with you, and so lovely to seeing all of you online at the moment. And it's a privilege for us to be able to to come online. So I'm really appreciative of the time and effort that you put into all this, because without you, we'll not move anything. So I don't know, Safira, if it's possible for me to share my screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can be given. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen? Is it clear?
Yes, it's
Perfect.
great.
Perfect. Okay, so thanks again, Safira, for that warm introduction. So with UN Women, I think some of you have attended CSW. You know that UN Women usually host something which is more around centering youth voices. We've been trying to do this for over a decade in trying to ensure that youth voices at CSW are seen. And I'm cognizant of the work that is being done with young professionals. I mean, it's completely amazing because you're bringing in a certain voice that is critical within a CSW. And at this point in time for this CSW, you know, the climate agenda is at the heart of young people. And so we want to ensure that that voice is also centered in most of the things we'll be doing at CSW. The events that we're going to be holding at CSW also will have a generational lens. So as I go through this, I think you can pop your questions in the chat as well. I'll try as much as I can to also answer those questions. So this slide was just for us to sort of share with each other something that you really know that we need your voices. It's critical that you are in these conversations. So we've planned a couple of things and already that planning has been taking place, where with a group of national gender youth activists, young people who have been nominated by our country offices who have been working on this agenda. Some of you know about the Generation Equality Forum, where we saw them mobilizing thousands and thousands of young people to engage in the gender equality agenda. So they are planning the CSW in terms of what will be happening during that time. We are in the process of having a CSW training, which is similar to what you're going through right now. So I'm really glad. I wish we had sort of connected. And of course, this is for future as well, that we just connect in terms of our trainings, because the training we are doing, it's also quite exciting. Young people are being given homework to do. They're developing their advocacy strategies, and they'll be coaching until CSW. So I think connecting around that, we may, as you know, we may do it, I think, later on to see the coaching part and how we do it together. We're also planning a climate change training. We realized that, yes, we're all talking climate, but from what we've had, especially from adolescent girls, is that the climate discourse itself is a bourgeois discussion. You know, it's either you are professional, you've got a degree, you've got what for you to completely understand the nuances of climate change. So we are going to be holding that training, and we'll connect with Safira and your team in terms of how we can do this together instead of just having it separate. But I think using your platform would be a good way of doing it. So young people have also been holding community level youth-led consultations, which were completely amazing. We've had so many. We put out a call for them to do consultations, and we have these young people holding consultations around a fire holding consultations after school in a playground, which is really amazing. And all those results of those consultations have been put into recommendations that we're going to share with you as well. And it's going to be shared with member states to inform the discussions that are going to start happening in the next 10 days. So quite exciting work around that. And it's something we would like to partner with you for next time in terms of doing these consultations as well. So at the moment, we are in the process of developing a political strategy on how to engage at CSW, and we'll be touching base with you, and any of you who'd love to be part of that, the development of that political strategy. It would be amazing if you can also join us. So on the 4th and 5th of March, we've got a youth forum that's going to take place. And we, you know, the program itself was co-designed with the National Gender Youth Activists and a couple of other, let me see, okay, it's not, it's here. And a couple of other partners who came into the space to support the community-led consultations, the development of the recommendations, but also the youth forum itself. So these are some of the partners we have who have developed the program. The program is nearly finalized at the moment, and we'll be sending out a call for registrations as well. So in terms of the youth political strategy, as I was talking, I think we really want to engage with you as young professionals to input into this strategy, where I know you have done your own recommendations and you have sent them through. They were also amazing. And thank you for doing that. We are going to be sharing ours here as well, and making sure that, you know, the major groups have those recommendations going forward. We've been engaging with feminist action on climate justice action leaders who action coalition leaders who have been leading the work around our climate agenda. We also want to strategically engage at different parallel and side events. So at the moment, looking at which parallel events, side events are critical for young people to be there to talk about their recommendations and input into those discussions. We were lucky to also be engaging with ngocsw around the Vienna Cafe, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that. And then also sharing of youth recommendations during one of the ngocsw morning briefings. So working with the young professionals in terms of how do we manage that morning will be so critical, because we really want to ensure that we are occupying some of the spaces that we've not been able to. So there is also going to be a couple of there's also going to be a couple of events that we'll share with you for you to be able to engage, and your voice is critically needed in those spaces. So that's what we have at the moment, and looking forward to hearing your comments and where we can continuously engage with you. Thank you, Safira.
Thank you so much, Rita. And it's really exciting to see the roadmap and all of these different opportunities to engage and to kind of hear youth voices in the lead up to the commission. So I know Rita has to go. So if you have any questions about what was just shared, feel welcome to put it in the chat. Rita, we do have one question from Natalie, which is a question around when the zero draft will be shared publicly with civil society. I don't know if you have any time frame on that.
Sorry. So what is really happening is that, you know, the text that has been prepared from the Secretary General's report has been finalized, and it's going to be shared with member states today or tomorrow, the 2nd of February. The member states are going to be given 10 days to look at it and input, and whatever they need to be sent back for everything to be consolidated, and they need to be shared after that. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm not so sure now of the date. I would need to confirm, but I think by the 16th, it should be shared for the first reading or something. But I would need to confirm that. Please don't quote me on the 16th day. But in terms of what's happening right now is member states are looking at the text for the next 10 days.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I don't see anything more in the chat. But of course, if there are questions that come up, we will try our best to answer them over the course of the meeting. But really wanted to just say thank you so much, Rita, and we look forward to collaborating and just being in touch with these opportunities as we get closer to the commission. And of course, you know, the YLYPs, this platform is here anytime you want to tap into us, and we're here to support the work of UN Women. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and you can also give my email address, Safira, if there's anyone who needs to understand anything or the processes. We're just here to support you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, we can put your email address in the chat, and those who are interested can reach out directly. Thank
The
you.
rest of the training.
Thank you so much, Rita. All right, so I'm seeing a number of familiar faces on the call today, but I also know that many of you are new and joining for the very first time. So we did want to give just a very basic overview of what the Commission is, to share a little bit about the UN structure. So I'm going to talk through some of the very basics. And as always, for those of you who are more experienced, this is a space for us to connect, to build that network so that we can support one another into the Commission. And for those who are joining for the first time, you have some friends, you have people who you can reach out to and ask questions. So those with more experience, please feel welcome to share either in the chat or connect with each other one-on-one in the chat so that we can support each other through this process. So in terms of the CSW overview, if we can go to the first slide, the very first thing I wanted to show you was where the CSW fits in the United Nations system. And so this is the organogram of the UN, and you can see the 6 UN principal organs. And under the Economic and Social Council, we have a series of functional commissions, and one of those is on the status of women. So every year there is this commission on the status of women. And what is it? It's CSW is really a principal global intergovernmental body which is exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women. And so this year, the 66th session of the CSW will take place from the 14th to the 25th of March. And this is where representatives of member states will have UN entities, accredited NGOs to the Economic and Social Council of the UN from all around the world are invited to contribute to the session. And of course, due to the global pandemic, this year, the CSW will take place in a hybrid format, but mostly online. So all of the official side events and the parallel events will be fully virtual, and you can tune in on UN Web TV to follow. The themes of the Commission this year, as has been mentioned, the priority theme is on climate change, environmental and disaster risk reduction policies and programs. And we'll also be reviewing the theme from the 61st session of the Commission, which was Women's Economic Empowerment in the Changing World of Work. So you'll see these themes come up, and those of you who are familiar, during the 2 weeks of the Commission, there will be discussion around progress and gaps in the implementation of the 1995 Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which is the key global policy document on gender equality. So it was the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action in 2020, but due to the pandemic, we celebrated it last year, and many of you would have heard of the Generation Equality Forum. So if we can hit to the next slide, the Beijing Platform for Action has these 12 critical areas of concern. So these are the symbols here, touching on everything from women and health to violence against women, to women in power and decision-making. And also the instrument of the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, we're looking at achieving gender equality and women's empowerment across all of these 17 goals and trying to make these connections between all of these international instruments to see how we're advancing along these gendered indicators as well in the SDG framework. Very, very basically, in terms of the structure of the Commission itself, there are 45 member states of the United Nations who serve as members of the Commission at any one time. And these members are elected for a period of 4 years. And we have a bureau of the CSW, which is a rotation of 5 member states from the different regions around the world. So for this year, we have South Africa, who's going to be serving as the chair. And they are from the they're the representative from the African States Group. We have Argentina from the Latin American and Caribbean States Group. Germany this year from Western European and other states group. Latvia from the Eastern European States Group, and the Republic of Korea from Asia and Pacific States Group. So the Bureau plays a crucial role in facilitating the participation and ensuring the successful outcome of the annual sessions of the Commission. And you'll see that the outcome in the consideration of the priority theme will take the form of an agreed conclusions, which will be negotiated by all member states. So this is just a very basic overview of the mechanism of the Commission, and so you have a sense of what's coming up. So I'll pause here, and we're going to turn to Devin to take us to a quick poll, and then we'll hand over to Jillian to continue on this explanation and give you a sense of the NGO committee and how that all fits in with the Commission itself. So over to you, Devin.
Cool. So we just wanted to do a poll here about what your experience has been with youth issues, specifically within the UN system. So you should all see the poll, yes? Cool. So yeah, so just let us know if you've been involved with the Youth CSW Forum, Youth Envoy's Office, UN Women, Major Group on Children and Youth, Department on Global Communications Youth Program. Maybe you've been involved in a different program at the UN, or if you don't have any experience with youth issues at the UN. Okay, we have a couple more trickling in still. So keep on inputting your answers. Okay. So it looks like most of us don't have experience with youth issues at the UN, but those who do, mostly through the Youth CSW Forum and or UN Women. Good to know, cool. Oh, I'll just share the results real quick too, so you can see that visual as well. All right, back to you, Safira.
Perfect. I'm going to punt it to Jillian. Over to you.
Thank you, Safira. That was really strong. And let's move on to what we from NGO CSW have planned for you for March. We begin with Consultation Day, which is on the 13th, ahead of the official start. We will be hosting a virtual half-day consultation. It's an event which includes learning, conversation, storytelling, and entertainment to prepare for the upcoming Commission on the Status of Women. Our global teams will also be planning regional-based events, and the entire schedule will be posted on our website for you to be able to pick and choose per your liking. Given that we've alluded to this as a completely virtual forum for us this year from the NGO side, we will be having virtual parallel events. Many of you may have already applied for it. From the 14th of March, over the 2 weeks of the Commission, NGO CSW will be hosting and organizing a virtual platform. This year, we will host over 750 events for you to choose from. You simply need to register on the portal and browse through events and register as you wish. Devin, who presents after me, will share a short demonstration on how to access the portal. We're also hosting conversation circles. It's a virtual space to raise issues and exchange ideas on 10 different topics. Each conversation will present a specific topic as related to generation equality, the Action Coalition, or the theme of the commission, and emerging issues as well. Each session will be guided by 2 co-facilitators who are experts on the topic. Everyone is welcome to join, but remember, you must register ahead of time. We also have virtual exhibit halls. A booth in the virtual exhibit hall are essentially a hub for your organization where exhibitors can add, delete logos, download materials, videos. These exhibit booths also include a chat feature where participants can engage with your exhibitor and take questions and answers. You can purchase an exhibit booth if you wish. It allows you access to the platform for the entire 2 weeks of the forum, and the registration or purchase is open till the 1st of March of this year. We also have the option of having an interactive handbook. You can purchase an handbook advertisement for your organization or for your event itself. This handbook will be featured under the portal's Handbook Ads tab leading up and during the commission. A handbook ad sponsors can manage their logo, description, the content. You can edit materials, and you still have the opportunity, should you choose to do so, to purchase an ad up until the 1st of March. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the fees for that is $750. We also are offering you the opportunity to participate in a virtual artisan fair. Our virtual doors are open to both artisans and attendees from around the world. Should you wish to shop, who doesn't, right? Authentic fashion, home, or jewelry accessories, the platform hosts global artisans who support NGOs with women-focused initiatives. All proceeds go to the artisans or their organizations directly. We have regional caucuses sessions, the dates for which will be uploaded on the site for you to attend to find out what's happening at a regional level, so that you're more connected with advocacy all around. Last but not the least, we have digital diplomacy. What is digital diplomacy? This year, we're taking our advocacy online. In the lead up and during the commission, we'll be sharing our efforts, recommendations, advocacy campaigns, and challenges across all of our socials. You're welcome to join us or follow us on a platform that's preferable to you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even LinkedIn. We're counting on you to support us, to participate, add your voice. And if we can move to the next slide, please. This year, we celebrate our 50th anniversary. That's no mean feat. And we welcome all of you to join us in the virtual celebrations. The easiest way would be to join us through our Kudo board. So what exactly is a Kudo board? Think of it like a greeting card that you pass around and you sign, but this is a more fun, customizable e-card format. You can attach a message, a photo, a video, and we invite you to contribute, add your details in, be a part of the celebration. In addition to that, we are also organizing 2 events just for you to meet our 50 mentors. The first of this will be as a part of the preparation series for our young people, which will be held on Wednesday, the 9th of February, between 12 and 2. And I think Devin will talk a little bit more about this coming in her session. The only thing to remember is you need to register in advance for all of these sessions. So thanks for listening to me, and I hand over to Devin.
Cool, thanks. Okay, I just wanted to, before I go over the virtual portal, I just wanted to go over the difference between NGOCSW and the UN CSW. So they are 2 very separate spaces and processes. The UN CSW is everything we talked about before, those official meetings with member states. It's organized by UN Women, so they're kind of the focal point, the organizers for the UN CSW. And like we kind of mentioned, you have to be ECOSOC accredited to mostly to participate in the UN CSW. Side events are part of the CSW program, as opposed to parallel events, which are the NGO CSW forum. And yeah, so the big main difference is that the NGO CSW forum is totally civil society. And you do not have to be ECOSOC accredited. You don't have to have really any qualifications. It's totally open to the public, totally free. Everyone is welcome to attend. We have parallel events. So when you see the term parallel events, that's always referring to the NGO CSW forum, as opposed to side events, which are always part of the UN CSW. Yeah, so that's just, I just wanted to go over that because we do often have a lot of confusion about that. So if you have any questions about the UN CSW, you are welcome to, contact us and ask us, and we can answer them, but we do not actually handle any of the processes for UN CSW. So we can't assist with like registration issues and stuff like that. So stuff like that is taken care of by UN Women, while we only take care of the NGO CSW forum stuff. So I just wanted to go over that before I start with the portal demonstration. So first, I just wanted to talk about actually registering for the forum. So the registration link I did put in the chat. If maybe an intern can just put the link again. And someone did ask, how do I, engage with these events? How do I take part in these things that are going on during the forum? And the answer to that is that you have to register for the forum, and then all of this stuff is held on our virtual portal, which I will share my screen. Okay. So here's what our virtual portal looks like. And here is the registration page. So to access this virtual portal, you just have to fill out your registration. You do have to register for an account when you're registering. It's a totally different and new login. So for example, if you have a login information with like our website or or like maybe CSW's registration website, none of that login info will work. You have to register for a new account. And then once you register, you'll get an email to access your profile in this guy. So once you get to the virtual portal, you will be able to edit your profile. So your name will be up here. You can hover over it or click on it to edit your profile, and you are able to add a photo of yourself, your title. This is also where you would like change your password or login info. You can put a brief description or bio of yourself, the topics of focus, the things you're interested in, or the things that you work on. You can indicate if you're an NGO CSW member. So you can really add a lot to your profile so that when people do go on your profile, they can, see a little bit about you. So on the homepage, this really has just a lot of things that you might want to know or need to know about the forum and the CSW. So we do have an FAQs that this will be really, really helpful, especially for those of you who are new to this space. So I will send all of these resources that I talk about in the chat as well. And I'll also show you where they're available on our website too. So definitely read our FAQs. It goes over pretty much everything you need to know, as well as a little bit more in depth about the different aspects of the forum, the things that Jillian went over, the conversation circles, caucuses, all that. So definitely read those. We have tutorial videos that we have a couple for depending on how you're engaging with the forum. I would definitely recommend watching this participants tutorial. It pretty much goes over what I'm going to talk about now, but just nice and quick and short, and you can jump to different sections depending on what you need to know. So definitely check out this video as well. And this is a link to YouTube. So when you go on this, you can also see the other tutorial videos that we have. So we have one for specifically parallel event organizers. We have one for exhibitors, so those who are hosting an exhibit booth, and one for Handbook Ad sponsors. So check those out. Those will also be a very helpful resource and just a good reference if you need to go back or if you forgot anything that we talk about now or in some of the other training events we'll have. We also, in addition to those little tutorial videos, we're also having live training events. So the first one that we had was last week, so it just passed, but you can watch the recording. So that's also a good resource if you're a parallel event organizer. You can definitely check that out. The next training that we're going to have is for exhibitors, and that's actually happening tomorrow. And again, that recording will be posted on our YouTube channel and posted here and on our website as well. And then the last one that we're having, which is actually going to be our February monthly meeting, is just a general training about the NGO-CSW forum. We'll talk a lot about what we're talking about here, but we'll go a little bit more in depth into the different aspects of the forum, how to engage on the virtual portal, and all of these events also have a Q&A session at the end. So that's a good place to voice any questions that you have as well. And that is happening on February 17th, which is a Thursday. So we also just have some information that you will need to know, including our virtual safety guidelines. These are really important. Please make sure that you read through these and really understand them. We take them very, very seriously, and this is how we enforce a safe environment, especially in this virtual space. We really want to make sure that all the participants feel comfortable, safe, and that they have a place to report any incidents or any anything that might happen, any harassment, to let us know, and we can take appropriate action. So as you see here, you can always email us at virtualsafety@ngocsw.org. With anything that might happen, any concerns you might have. And this also goes for any events that we have throughout the year, not just the forum. So always feel free to email us if you feel unsafe or concerned for any reason. We also have a little bit information about the CSW. Like I said before, it's a totally separate process from the NGO-CSW forum. So we have some information here. This is a link to UN Women's website, and I can actually post this in the chat. So this website is where you will find all the information about the CSW. It is UN Women's website, but that is the place to go if you really want to learn more about the CSW, the different processes, how that all works. And also on that website is the schedule of the CSW session, some ways to address the commission, and other things like that, side events, which aren't posted yet, but they will be. So that's like the main hub for all things UN CSW. It's also our 50th anniversary, like Jillian said, and I'll put the Kudo board link in the chat as well, so y'all can see that and also contribute if you'd like to. And then we also have some information about our Global Planning Committee and our partners in planning this forum and organizing it. So you can also check those out. It's mostly our sister NGOs, the NGO CSWs in the regions. We have an NGO in New York, which is us, Africa, Arab states, MENA, Asia Pacific, Geneva, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and Vienna. So there are 7 of us in total. So if you want to learn more about that, you can do so here. So, excuse me, the actual schedule and agenda of the forum is going to be here under schedule. The agenda is the full list of events. It does take a little time to load because there's 750 events. So this is where all the events will be listed. It's really easy to add them to My Agenda. So if you see here, there's a My Agenda. This is just where you can add events that you are planning to attend. So that will be where you can go to, go to the events that you're interested in and that you're planning to attend directly. And you can add events to My Agenda by clicking this little plus sign here. And you can also see that they have a label labeled parallel event. We also have NGO CSW New York events. And then you can also see the different topics that they address as well. So while you're scrolling, you can see the title, when they are, and also, okay, they're going to address gender-based violence and faith and religion. You can also click on the event to open the full event profile, and that will show you more about the event. I will show you the sample parallel event page because we are still working on uploading the information for the parallel events. So for example, this is pretty empty right now, but they will have like a description, maybe a graphic or a flyer, a list of speakers. So you can search. So if you know, which event you want to go to, the title, the organization maybe, you can search right in there. And you can also filter the search for regions, different topics of interest, organization, things like that. So it also makes it pretty easy to search for specific events that you're looking for. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is also being a little bit slow, but I think I don't really need to show you the actual event page. But let's go to the exhibit hall. So the exhibit hall applications for exhibit booths are still open. They are at our regular price now, so they're $1,500. And I'll post the links for this information as well. But this is the virtual exhibit hall. This also is kind of still in the process of being updated, but this is the list of the different exhibit booths that we have. So it'll have the logo and the name of the booth. And then within the booth, you can see the information about the organization or the campaign or the group, whoever's sponsoring the exhibit booth. They'll have links embedded. They might be hosting events within their exhibit booth. And it'll look kind of something like this. They'll have links and information about different events that you can sign up for. They'll also have here the parallel events that they are hosting, if they are hosting any parallel events. And there's also a really great feature, which is on the parallel event pages, the exhibit booths, the handbook ads, and it's just this conversation or chat feature where you can ask the exhibitors questions, or maybe post a message to engage with other participants. This is also great if you are the exhibitor and want to ask questions to participants, or post updates, etc. So this is a good resource as well. And if you are interested in learning more about an exhibit booth, you can leave your card, and that will essentially send your information to that exhibitor, letting them know, here's my information, my contact information. I'd like to know more about your organization, and they can follow up with you. And lastly, exhibit booths have a feature where you can actually talk with live representatives. So at certain times, depending on the exhibit booth, their representatives will be open for essentially virtual visits. So it would be like walking up to an exhibit booth in person and meeting face-to-face with a representative to kind of talk and learn more about the exhibit booth. And that is called the Talk Now feature, which I don't have a visual example of here yet, but that's also something to keep in mind. There will be an ability for you to meet with the booth's representative and have a real conversation with someone if you want to learn more. We also have handbook ads, which look very similar to the exhibit booth page. So you have the logos and the names that you can go and kind of explore. And this page is similar as well. There are some differences though. You are not able to meet and greet with people from handbook ads. You won't be able to leave your card. So this is a lot less interactive of a space, and it's more just kind of like informational. But handbook ads are also, they have this page on the portal, but we also have a digital interactive handbook. So that's essentially a PDF document of everything about the forum. We have some welcome messages from the chair, UN Women, the CSW chair. It'll have all the parallel events, all the events that are happening. But at the end, they'll also have advertisements. So handbook ads also have a graphic that is added to the handbook. And that handbook is uploaded to our website, and it's, will always be available on our website. So it's a little bit of a kind of like a historical document as well, of what happened during that year at the forum. So handbook ads will also have a nice flyer, but they also have the same conversation feature where if you do want to follow up and learn more, you can also get in touch with them via this feature as well. And we also have our Artisan Fair, which is super excited. We are still in the process of getting applications. Applications are still open. They close on Valentine's Day, February 14th. I believe it's a Monday. So once those close and we review them and upload them to the portal, they will have buttons and a little description about each artisan for you to go right to their website and shop that way. And I think the only other thing is that there is a message board, so you can post messages to all participants. As you can see here, here's a post that I posted, so everyone can see it, and so you can reply or you can post a new one. So this is also a good place if you want to just get in touch with other participants, if you want to promote your work or an event. This is a good place to do that. And then in addition to the message board, there's also a private message option. So if you want to, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I had actual messages. So, but there's also that private message where you can message people directly and privately. And I think that's it for the portal. And I think the only other thing I just wanted to show you all real quick is our website and where just to find more information about all of this. And like I said before, I'm going to put all of these links in the chat as well. And this will be sent with the recording of this event too. So in our email follow-up, we'll have the recording and all of these things that I'm talking about. So don't worry if you're not catching some things. But for all of these resources, you can also just go to our website and go to this NGOCSW forum tab. We have the FAQs here again. This is where you can go to register for the forum if you haven't already. Some more FAQs. These are where you'll go to find some of the resources specific to how you are engaging with the forum. So if you're a parallel event organizer, this is where you'll go to find everything you need as a parallel event organizer. And if you're hosting an exhibit booth or a handbook ad, you can also go to this to find all of these resources. We have the exhibit hall and handbook ad applications. We have the trainings. We have all of the information about our advocacy. Definitely check out our advocacy and research group, which I believe we'll be talking about a little bit today at some point. But yeah, so this is the place that you can also just find all of the information if you're looking for something or need to go back to something, you can find it here. And I think that's it on my part. I know I just threw like a ton of information at y'all, but don't worry, like I said, I will send all of this information. Most of it is also available in some of the resources as well. So yeah, don't get too overwhelmed or too worried right now, because we have a lot of stuff to help y'all out, kind of guide you through this process. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Devin. And thank you so much for a detailed explanation. I think for those of us who joined us online last year, you already have a sense of how to engage and build those networks and make those connections online. But I think when it's your first time engaging in something like this, it's really helpful to know all of the different ways you can reach out to people and try to be an advocate and to be effective and impactful in your engagement at the commission. So with that, I'm going to invite Pamela to share a little bit about how to engage and how to be effective at the commission. So over to you, Pamela, to share some of your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Safira. Before I start talking about advocacy, however, I'd like to acknowledge the phenomenal work of Devin and her team of interns, Grace, Karina, and Kit, as well as the YLYP team of Devin, Safira, and Saida for making all of this happen. Let's give them a big hand. So, advocacy is defined as any action that speaks in favor of, recommends, argues for a cause, supports or defends, or pleads on behalf of others. Here at CSW, we are speaking specifically about how to be effective partners in UN negotiations about women's human rights. The greater question then is, how can civil society influence outcomes? That is the crux of advocacy. Now, it's quite important that we make sure that we are well informed when we try to advocate in this UN space. It's important for you to prepare for your advocacy by conducting research and studying. Once you've become well-versed on the topic, then create a fact sheet that you can use as needed. Know and understand the issues connected to the priority theme, which we've reviewed, as well as the review theme. Find the issues that resonate with you. Instruments, concepts, terms to know include Beijing Platform for Action, the SDGs, UNFCCC, CEDAW, the GCR and the GCM, which are the Global Compacts on Migration and Refugees, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Paris Agreement, the zero draft. There are more. This is just an overview, but you need to understand what the UN space is built on. You also need to understand which UN agencies influence interactions with women and girls. Yes, UN Women, UNICEF, and UNFPA immediately come to mind, but where else do we find influential entities? The Human Rights Council is one, but what are the others? This is for you to research so that when you start your advocacy, you know where to go. Moving on, the Pathwell platform, as Devin shared, is a great place to start. Use a search facility to identify like-minded people, send them a note, or look for other ways to contact them. See if you can begin communicating and sharing information using any of the tools that Devin showed you, whether it's the Ask or the other communications tools. By all means, attend virtual parallel and side events. If you have questions or comments to contribute to the event, follow the dictated procedure, which is most often putting your questions, comments in the chat. Remember to be respectful. Remember that you are there as a guest and you want to make inroads. When at the events, take notes, write down the name of the speakers who you'd like to learn more about, and then follow up after the sessions. Make these side events and the parallel events your learning laboratories. If at all possible, meet your country's delegations to CSW. You may be able to speak with them and provide a point of view that may resonate with the delegation. They can then share with their colleagues who may be involved in the negotiations. Again, Devin and her team have developed a host of tools, including the Ask Me feature that we recently saw. And there are also other tools available on the website and on NGO's CSW's channel on YouTube. Use them to prepare. Finally, we're going to speak briefly about the zero draft and how to use it as an advocacy tool. Remember that the zero draft is the first attempt at assembling the agreed conclusions. NGO CSW New York's Advocacy and Research Subcommittee has developed 6 recommendations for inclusion in the CSW 66 zero draft, which by the way was released today. Please check the NGO CSW New York website for the full text of the 6th recommendation. Here are the essence of the 6 points. Next slide, please. Gender responsive policies, female-focused sustainable jobs, women-centric financial policies, equal rights for women under the law, focused education on local-based livelihoods, and data-driven policies. Those are 6 sound bites that encapsulate the 6 points developed by the Advocacy and Research Subcommittee. Please use these points in your discussions with peers, delegates, member states, such as at the Vienna Cafe if you're selected to attend, your family and friends, so that on March 26th, when all of the exciting events are over, your advocacy remains an important part of who you are. And then also remember that you can carry these 6 points straight through to COP27 in Cairo in November. And we'll take questions during the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Thank you for breaking it down with the infographic. It makes it much easier to digest. So that brings us to the end of our formal presentation and the load of information that has been shared. And we want to open up now for questions. So we have Pamela, who will stay with us. We have Rosa, we have Huri, and of course, Devin, Saida, and I, who are ready to answer any questions. I see that a number of questions have been posted in the chat, and thank you to Grace and Huri for responding to those questions that have come up. But you're welcome to continue posting questions in the chat, or you're also welcome to raise your hand if you'd like to raise your virtual hand and ask a question. This is a really great opportunity to ask questions about how to be effective, any questions about engaging at the Commission. Really, these group of women are very busy and it's hard to catch them all together. So this is a great time for you to be able to ask these questions. So I'll open the floor for anyone who would like to ask any more information, whether it's technical or how to engage, or even more substantive questions based on what Pamela has shared about advocacy. So, okay, we have a request to put up the 6 points again. And maybe I can just echo some of the questions that were put in the chat. I don't know, Huri, if you want to speak to some of these. How do you become an NGOCSW member, and do you have to pay to register? So if maybe you can just say a few words about that.
Sure, I already said it in the chat, but I always like to reiterate. We do encourage and we welcome what we call donation memberships. You do not have to be a member to be part of our group, our cohort. You can just sign up for our email list and everybody's welcome to join all of our meetings and engage with us. We have worked really hard to make the portal absolutely free. It obviously costs us money to, organize this portal. That's one of the reasons why we charge the least we can charge for parallel events and exhibit booths. That gives you a lot of access. That's how we pay for it. But you can become a member. You can be part of NGOCSW family by just signing up for our email list. But if you do want to become a paid member, yes, the link was in the chat. We have 2 tiers, $50 for a regular member and $25 for youth. And as I mentioned in the chat, we don't check your ID. So you can be youth at heart and donate $25 and become a member. Yeah, that's about it as far as membership and being part of NGOCSW. We are an open, welcoming committee.
Thank you so much, Huri. I did receive a question about parallel events, and I don't know if anyone is able to speak to, the formal application process for parallel events has now closed. But if any of you are thinking about hosting a parallel event, what might be the best way at this point to host an event or to let people know that you're hosting an event? That's a question for our panel.
Rosa, do you want to take that, or I can just jump in again?
You could start and, talk about how the deadline has passed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, there's over 750 parallel events right now. So I would not encourage you to try. Well, we do have a very short waiting list, but we haven't even gotten to it yet because we do have a huge list of parallel events. And I know it's exciting to have an event on the portal, but I don't want anybody to feel like, well, if I don't have a parallel event, then my voice is not heard, or, definitely join parallel events and speak up at those events. Every parallel event will be open, I hope. I mean, you can just sign up and join these parallel events where you can speak up in the Q&A section, or if you find an organization that's listed a parallel event, try to see if you can be a speaker on that parallel event. There's many ways of engaging. So I don't want to discourage you. If you really, really want to still have a parallel event, email info and we'll add you on the waiting list. But I'm really cautious in saying that we guarantee that we will be able to schedule you. There's way too many parallel events right now. And somebody had said something about, should it be a pre-recorded parallel event? I would say keep it live. I think that's the whole idea of parallel events, is engaging live and also learning something from the event right before you and bringing it into your event. We're all going to go jump from one event to another and share information. So yeah, I would definitely lean towards a live parallel event. Go ahead.
Definitely. Just to add and to answer that question in the chat, you want to keep it live, and just to underscore those points that Huri mentioned, just if you are really interested in one issue in particular, look for those events that are featured, and through the portal you can be in touch with the organizers ahead of time. And if you really want to be part of that, you know, just keep knocking on their door and show them what you've got, and you know, they might need, many are looking for youth advocates to sit on their side events and be one of the speakers. So I would encourage that. And to answer the question that Danielle has, well, and I think Devin answered it. Her question is, they have 2 scheduled parallel events. Her organization has ECOSOC status. Is it worth trying to apply for an official side event? Well, the side events at the UN are just like we are overloaded. They will be overloaded with applications, and the priority is given to member states. So if you have a top-notch side event that you want to apply for as an official event, I would suggest that you try to get a member state to co-sponsor. They're given priority, and then the UN agencies. And so if you have a member state and a UN agency, then you know that really is in favor of you to get that. But as you know, people are putting it in the chat, UN Women doesn't usually co-sponsor events. They have their own. So it would need to be another organization that's maybe related to climate change or disaster risk reduction. In any case, that's also a process that is very competitive because of space, you know, just in the calendar. And I think that the deadline is the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's very, very soon.
I jump in to respond to the question about whether or not the session should be pre-recorded. I want to encourage you, if you are considering having a film screening, to make sure that it's live. So you have a live introduction, you screen the film, and then you have a panel or something live afterwards. But we need to have live parallel events. Nothing should be solely pre-recorded.
I just wanted to add something, and then I see Dorothy has a live question, so we will turn to you. But part of what we're wanting to achieve as part of the Youth Leaders and Young Professionals is a network that supports one another. So we do have a Slack channel. We have a WhatsApp group. You can connect with us on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And something that we've wanted to use our Slack channel for especially is to share different events. So even if you're hosting events that, you know, perhaps didn't make it, you didn't make the deadline for the parallel events or the side events, but you want to share what you're doing, feel welcome to use that Slack channel to share your work and share any events that are coming up. There are times when we are looking for youth speakers. So maybe we'll send it out again this year, where we have invited those who have work that they want to share or want to be considered for speaking opportunities. So to please just make it known to us that you have something to share. So I will turn to Dorothy to ask your question.
Good evening.
Hi, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, part of my question has been answered. It's about the parallel event. I have registered and got confirmation that I've registered. Actually, but I did get I've not gotten the email, acceptance email. So I think maybe because I'm not ECOSOC compliance. I've not gotten the ECOSOC status yet. I'm not just hearing it here. I don't know that you must be, you must have an ECOSOC status before you can organize a parallel event. So I think that has answered my question.
So Dorothy, just to clarify, you're wanting to host a parallel event. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you don't need ECOSOC accreditation to host a parallel event, which is an event on the NGO-CSW forum. But I do understand that all of those events have been accepted and the slots have been filled. So I don't know, Rosa or Pam, if you wanted to speak to what's happening with parallel events and acceptance letters at this point.
I've not gotten any email for acceptance. That's what I'm saying.
Dorothy, email us at info@ngocsw.org. It's in the chat as well. And we can resend the email to you.
Okay.
These are all great questions that you can email directly and we can see what we can do to help you on this end. Huri, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we've had some issues with the acceptance emails going into junk email. So I was surprised to see how many was like that. So please check your junk email. Even close friends who emailed me and said, I didn't get my acceptance. I knew I was, and it was in the junk email. But sometimes it's also a glitch. Like I said, 750 events is a lot. So please email us and our techies will double check and send you the acceptance.
Absolutely, Dorothy, mine went into my spam folder. It happens.
Even you, Pam?
That's right.
No, unacceptable.
It's spam, it's your email provider.
Wonderful. Okay, so I want to pose we have a question in the chat that's a little bit more substantive, which is about hearing from some of our experts about their experiences influencing the agreed conclusions, which is an excellent question. So there are a few sub-questions and I'll just read them out. To what extent does the Secretary General's report really influence what's in the zero draft? Is the zero draft and other versions of the zero draft first reading ever public? Or is access to the text primarily brokered by civil society organizations sitting in government delegations or by governments holding civil society consultations on the draft? And how is the ARG taking forward its recommendations with UN Women and permanent missions? So that sounds like a process question around the agreed conclusion. So if anyone would like to just speak a little bit about what that process will look like for us this year, that would be wonderful.
Rosa, do you want to start and I'll take it?
Okay, I can start.
Why don't you
sure.
take the first one, Pam the second, and I'll take the third.
Oh, about the Secretary General's report?
Yeah.
Well, it's sure. I mean, I was going to take another one, but yeah, I think the Secretary General's report provides input into the zero draft, but also, they're kind of being written in tandem. The Secretary General's staff will provide input into the report, as will UN agencies, primarily UN Women. So they are providing input into the report. And at the same time, there's like peeking into so that those aspects come up in the zero draft. Now, I understand that with some coalitions, they've gotten their hands on the zero draft today, because I believe it was released today. So the zero draft, I'm sure people will be seeing it later today, if not tomorrow, more widely. And I think that it's not just provided a broker with CSO sitting on government delegations. That is helpful for the negotiations. That is very helpful to be on your country's delegation, because especially now where we're virtual, where we're not meeting representatives of member states in the hall, where we're not being able to advocate in the Vienna Cafe or in the delegates dining room or really the corridors. There has to be links into those delegations, and many times it's the CSO representatives on those delegations who are providing that communication and who are the liaisons into those delegations. Other times it's the governments themselves. What we are doing for the second time this year, we are hosting what we're calling the Vienna Cafe spaces, and that is small closed virtual spaces to meet with representatives of member states. So we have 3 sessions already organized, or let's say we're planning them, or they're in the process. We would love to have youth on board as well. We are going to the major groups, major coalitions. I mean, I think this one, the YLP, is another one. There will be a solicitation, a selection process based on universal criteria, so that you can participate in these small room consultations with 1 or 2 member states. Now, this is only 6 CSO representatives with 1 or 2 member states. It is a small, intimate space, Chatham House rules, so that there can be an exchange of information that we usually can get when we're in person on the ground. So this is going to happen the Wednesday before the CSW, the Wednesday of the first and second week as well. And we'll be providing Safira and Devin and Seda more information about that so they can get it to you.
Thanks, Rosa. I just want to reiterate for question 2 that no, the 0 draft is not primarily brokered by CSOs sitting in government delegations. It's open. I've received it twice already today. I'm not on a government delegation, and I'm not in a unique position. If you're interested, you can let us know. We can share it with you. It is open. It's open to the public. Everyone can read the 0 draft that was just announced today. Who do you have,
And I
number
guess-
3?
Yeah, I guess the number 3, okay, already I got distracted because my brain is thinking about everything that Rosa and Pamela said. Yes, the advisor, advocacy and research group. So we've had a group similar to this for years, and every year we tweak how we approach this and what we do with it, because every year we experience pushbacks or disappointments, no matter how hard we work. I am an optimist, and I have to say I am the most excited for this year. Even though it's all virtual, last year was a disaster. We could not even get 1 member state to respond to us, to negotiate with us, to talk to us. I mean, I'm exaggerating. People who know me know I'm dramatic, but almost nobody talked to us last year. This year, I have to say, I think they got not only used to the idea of virtual events, they also heard us. I said it earlier in the chat. The numbers that we gather in our portal, the numbers of parallel events and the recommendations that we keep sending and sharing with them makes a huge difference. Eventually they stop and they start paying attention and they realize they do need us. So one of the things that we did this year, we explained to them, we said, we are literally here to help them as well. And the compromise was that we were not going to give them a 40-page civil society 0 draft, which we've done before, because we're such experts. We have so much information. When we do consult, all this information comes in and the document gets bigger and bigger, and just like it does with the member state side, right? Because everybody wants to put in what it is that they want. And at the end of the day, what's the point of that outcome document that's like 40 pages, 60 pages long, when none of that is actually going to be implemented or held accountable. So one of the things that we've been working on is really making it more succinct and more to the point and doable recommendations. So at NGOCSW, I'm so grateful that Advocacy and Research Group worked on this and brought together 6 recommendations. And then they did 1-pagers for each of those recommendations. And this is specifically for climate justice, right? So of course you can expand this and you can put everything in the kitchen sink into it. But I think because we did it this way, member states are really reacting positively and they're thanking us. And we worked really hard, really fast. They're very appreciative of having it even before the 0 draft. So we already heard from a few member states saying that, thank you, we are going to use this. So that's a huge thing, even though we're not present in the negotiations, being able to have our recommendations on their desk is going to be helpful. But that's because I'm an optimist and I hope it will work this year. Let's see what happens by March 25th.
Thank you all. And I just wanted to add 2 things to this conversation. One is Rita, who we heard from UN Women, is also organizing specifically for youth issues, language and contributions into this process. And the other is that the YLYP, so our event next week, we're bringing in mentors. 3 of them are from UN Women. We have Rita, who you met today. We have Lopa Banerjee, who is the Civil Society focal point. And we also have Asa Regna, who is up there in the executive level of UN Women, who will be with us. We have the previous president of the General Assembly who will be joining us. So there will be a number of people who are committed to mentoring and helping our youth kind of navigate the CSW. And so I would say prepare for that session. There's a week, read the 0 draft, do a little bit of research, find out who's coming, come prepared with your questions, and really ask how young people can be most effective in engaging in the CSW. So thank you all for your answers. I see Keisha has a hand. So over to you, Keisha, to ask your question.
Hi, Sophia. So nice to see you again. I have 2 questions, and thank you to everybody who organizes all these events. It makes it so much easier for us to participate. My first question is, how do we, it might be a silly question, but I just wanted to ask, how do we connect with our country's delegation, or how do we get to know who it is? Is there any way in which we can communicate with them?
Do you want to ask both of your questions and then we can turn back to?
Yeah. Okay. And the second question was, will we be having our networking events? Like, that's one where I met you last year. So would we have events like that again this year? And if so, when? So those were my 2 questions.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Can I give a short response to the first question? How do you meet with delegates? I think that you have to, you cannot be shy. You have to reach out, look at your federal government, identify who are the people in the Office of Gender Relations, and start reaching out to them, whether it's email or word of mouth, people who you know in the network. You have to be aggressive. I have a friend in Switzerland who is now on the delegation because she was able to negotiate. She met people, she spoke to people. So don't be afraid, take a chance, reach out. And with your beautiful smile, I think someone will respond positively.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that.
And perhaps I can speak to the networking event. So next week, at the same time, will be our first networking event. This one is particularly with mentors, but we also have a number of young people who've engaged in the CSW before, who've been very active with NGO CSW over the years. So it will be a great place not only to meet mentors, but also peers. So one will be next week and one will be in the second week of the commission itself. And we can put maybe that information in the chat so you can keep an eye out. But as we get to the end of the session, we'll show you the list of events that the YLYPs are going to be putting on every week in the lead up to the CSW and then during the CSW itself. So there'll be 2 opportunities to network and get to meet each other again.
Okay, looking forward to those. Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you.
I can also offer some information. You know, every country has a UN office, right? And right now, you can also, you know, you're gonna have to look it up virtually. And that is one way to find out, you know, who the representative is for the CSW. You can go to the member state website and look for they might have a person listed as the 3rd committee, which covers gender issues, human rights, or you might have someone who specifically, it says, you know, gender equality liaison or CSW, and then just contact them, write them, and find out, you know, how can I meet or find out who's going to be on the delegation. I'm in country, and perhaps I can, you know, talk to them locally, and that's how you can do it. Now, one quick little secret about finding that website is if you just go to the UN.org website, the UN website, and you scroll to the very, very, very bottom, which lists all the different departments, all the different offices, it's either under the General Assembly or there's a link that will then give you UN member states. It's sort of what we in physical and in the old times we used to have the Blue Book, which listed all the offices, the phone numbers, the emails of the member states, 193. So this is online. And if I go after this and find the link, I'll just put it in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay, thank you all so much. So I don't know if there are others who want to raise their hand and speak and ask a question of our panel. I see most of the questions in the chat have been answered. Just wanted to give a moment to see if there was anything more before we move on with our program. Okay, so I will say a very warm thank you to Huri, to Rosa, to Pamela, and to Devin for answering these questions and for being with us today. I'm going to hand over to Devin to give us a little update on what's happening with YLYPs from here.
Okay, sorry, I was getting the slides ready. I'm actually gonna start with one more poll, just to get a feel for how y'all feel about this presentation that we had. So I'll launch the poll. So we have 2 questions. The first is, how confident are you to engage in the CSW after participating in this session? And then the second is, would you like to join the following opportunities to learn more? And we're having an orientation session on the NGO CSW 66 forum, as well as an advocacy training similar to this one on how to advocate for your work and your organization and certain issues at the UN and specifically during CSW. So keep on answering those. Yeah, and the orientation and advocacy training, those are going to take place on the first 2 days of the forum. So on the 14th and 15th, I believe, yes, in the morning. So on Monday, we'll have the orientation that gives a just bit of an overview on the forum and the different aspects and how to engage. And then the advocacy training will be on Tuesday morning to talk more about UN and CSW advocacy. So it looks like we have all the responses in. So most of you said you're pretty confident after this session, which is awesome. That's exactly what we'd hope for. And 29% are very confident, so that's even better. And then around 50% both want to join the orientation and the advocacy training session, which is also great. And I will be adding those events to the portal. So definitely make sure that you're registered for the forum and that you do access that virtual portal before the actual forum starts, just so you can get familiar with it. Yeah, you kind of have to register to access all of the different events and stuff that we talked about today. So definitely do that. And the link is in the chat, but we'll send it with the recording as well. It's also on our website. So be sure to go on that to look at the schedule and find all of our events and register for those. And we'll also be sending out emails with the registration links for these things too. So I'll go to, to the next YLYP events. So next week, like we mentioned, is our first mentorship meet and greet. I'll put the link in the chat to our global mentors. But so this event is going to be really exciting because we do have quite a few really incredible mentors who have agreed to join these sessions and are fully open to creating relationships with y'all. So they will be at this event. And if you were at our networking event last year, it's going to be using the same platform where it'll be little virtual tables that you can hop around and talk to different people. So it's very informal. And like Safira mentioned, you know, the mentors are going to be there, but this is also an opportunity to network with other young people. Some of the mentors are young people. It's a full range of ages. So yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for the registration link for that, which will be sent very soon. And then just a look at the full series and what is to come in the next coming weeks. So the mentorship meet and greet is next. Then the week after that, we have economic empowerment for women in the workplace. That is the review theme, if you recall, for CSW 66. So we'll be talking about that. Then we'll talk about male allyship in the feminist movement. We'll talk about anti-racism, and then we will wrap up the series with an elevator pitch workshop so you can be fully confident and ready to go into CSW, advocating for yourself, networking, making connections. So yeah, so we're really excited. The website is here at the bottom of the screen, but I'll put the clickable link in the chat as well. And that's where you can go and register for all of these events and also see, you know, just a little bit more information. Yeah, so and these are all at the same time. So on each Wednesday from 12 to 2. So same time, same place. And yeah, we're really excited. I will pass it over to Safira and Saida to give their closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Devin. I also just wanted to say as we close, this space is a space where we really want you to connect with one another. So I did see people put LinkedIn profiles, your social media handles in the chat. Please do that so that we can connect with each other and support one another in the lead up to the CSW. You're very welcome to connect with Devin, Saida, and I over LinkedIn or in the Slack or the WhatsApp and ask any questions. We're really wanting to connect and support with you. And I'll hand over to Saida.
Thanks, Safira. Thanks, Devin. I just want to take a moment to appreciate you all from calling in from all over the world. I know we're all at different time zones, at different spaces, and taking the time to connect across the globe is very exciting. It's been one of the silver linings of the pandemic, this chance to connect with you all virtually. And we're excited to see you all in the Youth Preparatory Series, as well as CSW and beyond. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect. And as Devin and Safira mentioned, we're always available by email. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll see you all on Wednesday.
See you all next week for our meet and greet and work with our global mentors. And thank you so much to everyone who joined today, and to Huri, Rosa, Pam, Devin, and Saida for everything that you contributed, and Jillian as well. Thank you all so much.
Hey, Jillian.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Bye. Bye.